Since Google announced free listings on Google Shopping in 2020, the SERPs have become an absolute battleground. Even more so in late 2024 and early 2025 as Reddit results, AI overviews, and quite frankly, too many sponsored listings have pushed traditional organic search results further and further down the page. The average cost per action across all of e-commerce on Google search is $45.27 as per mid to late 2024 data. For many brands, this is not even remotely sustainable. So I want to show you how to drop that cost per action to $0 by leveraging free listings on Google Shopping. It's similar to marketplaces like Amazon, Etsy, things like that, allowing users to browse products from different brands directly in the SERPs without actually having to click on to any website. That includes yours. And as Google continues to flood the SERPs with more ad spots to increase their top line revenue, these free listings are going to become one, even more important if you want to fight rising acquisition costs, and two, more difficult as your competitors fight to do the same. Unless you want to pay $45+ to acquire your next customer from Google, Merchant Center is going to become your new best friend. And in this video, I'm going to be breaking down a few of the biggest Google Merchant Center optimizations you can take care of today. Product feed quality score, strategic title optimization, comprehensive product data, proper category selection, price positioning, mobile optimization. For those of you that are new to my channel, my name is Cromwell. I am the founder of Newseas, an e-commerce SEO agency. We work with 7, 8, 9-figure Shopify brands to help scale their organic search revenue and traffic with SEO. So let's get into it. First, product feed quality score. Your product feed quality score is the foundation of your Google Shopping success. Similar to the quality score for keywords in text-based search ads within Google, Google evaluates your product feeds based on 3 main criteria: click-through rate, landing page experience, and overall relevance to the actual search query. So here's exactly how to improve each of these 3 things. First, increase your click-through rate by focusing on 2 key elements: image quality and competitive pricing. If you have a lower click-through rate over a certain amount of time, or lower than your competitors, or lower than the industry benchmarks, for example, here are Google's 5 image requirements. Non-apparel products need a minimum of 100 by 100 pixel size. Apparel products require minimum 250 by 250 pixel size. No images larger than 64 megapixels or files larger than 16 megabytes. Use white, gray, or light colored backgrounds. Okay, nothing shiny, bright, kind of detracting from the image. And product should occupy 75 to 90% of the image frame. Next, landing page experience. Your product pages need to match exactly what's in your feed. Consistent pricing, availability, in stock, out of stock, descriptions, all that kind of stuff. Any mismatch here will severely impact your quality score. Lastly, add detailed and accurate product information. Okay, I cannot stress how important it is that above all, everything on your feed needs to be accurate. Every single attribute within your feed should help Google understand exactly what you're selling and who you're selling it for. The same principles kind of that you would apply to a product page within your Shopify store or whatever e-commerce platform you're operating on. Be intentional with your keywords and place them strategically throughout the description, and just generally think about that kind of layout. Next up, title optimization. Product titles, second only to probably accuracy, are probably the most crucial element of your Google Shopping success. They will directly impact whether or not your products appear for relevant searches, and they will significantly influence your click-through rates. Google allows up to 150 characters in total for product titles, but only the first 70 or so characters are actually visible within search results. This means that Google is actually going to process the remaining 80 of those 150 characters, but only 70 will be shown. So don't just stop at 70. You can write a little more. It's fine. You have the room. Just know that only the first 70 are going to actually be shown. So how do you structure it? First, just like you would do a product page, front load your main keyword. This means quite literally putting your target keyword for that product at the start of the product name. If you're selling leather office chairs, do not start with your brand name. Start with quite literally leather office chair, and then add your brand and other details after. After that, other critical elements you can include within those remaining 80 or so characters in order of importance: product type, key attributes, so like size, color, material, things like that, brand name, and the model number if it's applicable. Model number, we're going to cover a little bit later, so I probably wouldn't stress about that too much. Model number really only kind of going to come down to probably like electronics and hard goods, hardware style stuff. Third, avoid any mistakes that can actually hurt your performance. Do not use excessive capitalization. Promise you that it's not going to help you. Avoid keyword stuffing. Also not going to help you. Keep special characters to a minimum, so no like ampersands, hashtags, things like that, and then never duplicate words unnecessarily. Next up, comprehensive product data. Like I said, accuracy is paramount to your success here. The feed needs to be thorough and accurate. Missing or incorrect information, even outdated information, will severely impact your performance, get your account suspended, and more generally, and probably the most important of all these things, going to cost you new customers and obviously revenue. Here are a few of the product data types you need to be looking out for. Product ID. Every single product needs a unique identifier. Okay, this is the equivalent to your product SKU. Google just calls it the ID. This seems very basic, but I'm telling you just as it's important and your 3PL or your backend logistics, it is crucial for Google Shopping for proper tracking and management. Global Trade Item Number, more commonly referred to as like GTIN. These are the unique identifier for your products across multiple channels, marketplaces, and regions. Okay, so if you're using Merchant Center to sell in the US and Canada, or US and UK, or US and Australia, or whatever, GTIN is going to be variable for you. Products submitted without any GTIN are more difficult to classify and thus going to appear in fewer searches, leading to, again, less revenue, right? Tying everything back to revenue. Price and availability. So these must be 100% accurate and real time. Google will penalize you heavily for any discrepancies between your feed and your website. And then lastly, product type. Specific and accurately categorized. Don't just use broad categories, be as specific as possible within Google's like classification taxonomy, which brings us to the next piece, classification. Google's product category is a hierarchical classification system that they use to properly classify, categorize products. Predefined by Google, you have to select the right category. Okay, you can't just like make anyone. Your product has to fit within one. So here's how to optimize your category selection. Do not go broad. You want to be as specific as you possibly can here. So if you're selling, I used an electronics example earlier, so let's stick with that. Let's say gaming laptops. You don't just want to set your category as like electronics and then computers, right? Because computers is still very broad. That could mean laptops, video editing computers. It could mean tablets, all these kinds of things. Right? Be as specific as you possibly can. Electronics, computers, laptops, gaming laptops. Okay, there's an option for that. Second, make sure you're consistent between your product category, your product type, and your website navigational structure. Third, and I stress this, regularly review and update your categories as well as your product data and feed, as Google frequently updates their taxonomy, and also just to make sure you're generally staying within the rules, let's say. Last up, price positioning, or second last, sorry, price position. So price is fairly important within Google. I mean, it's important across the board, but specifically within Google Shopping performance. It's not as impactful to a direct ranking factor for web search, but it does significantly impact product-based searches. Pricing strategy. Generally speaking, lower than average prices typically generate higher impressions and click-through rates within the Merchant Center or within like the free listing section. If you were priced way above market, you should know you're probably going to get fewer clicks and a lower click-through rate as a result. So think about testing different pricing options to see like what works for you guys, but maybe you introduce like a lower tier model. I don't know, but you should think about using more competitively priced products as entry points to capture traffic to then work them into your funnel, and then you can upsell them on your higher ticket product later on. Make sure you are transparent about pricing. So that means base pricing, tax information, shipping cost, discounts if they're live or not live or whatever, all need to be present. Make sure you keep your pricing current. If you end a sale, like if you ended a sale yesterday and your Google Merchant Center still reflects sale pricing today, but it's over, you need to fix it as soon as possible. It is going to hurt your visibility, especially if you leave it up for another 1, 2, 3 more days. Last up, finally, mobile optimization. So first you want to make sure your product images load quickly and clearly on mobile devices, right? This is pretty straightforward. Google's, like the image requirements we talked about earlier, should account for a lot of this, but you can still load in faster images just as you can on your product page on your actual website. On your mobile checkout process, once people click on that listing, they're going to want to check out. Streamline the number of steps. You don't want a lot of friction. Multiple payment methods. Buy now, pay later has become a really big one. That's popular. Make sure your forms are mobile friendly, like your checkout forms. Buttons and links should be easily tappable. People don't want to zoom in to click a button. They don't want to struggle to figure out what's next. Like clearly highlight them and like walk them through the checkout process. And then lastly, make sure, again, cannot stress this enough. Last, not the first time I've said it, maintain consistent product information across the desktop and mobile versions of your site. Okay, everything needs to be consistent at all times. So that's all I've got. That is my complete guide to Google Merchant Center optimization for 2025. This will be the first of probably a couple of videos I do on this series on Google Merchant Center. So gonna get to some more in depth later on. To make sure you stay up to date with that, make sure to follow and connect with me on Twitter and LinkedIn. And then for e-commerce brands that are just getting started with Google Shopping or SEO in general, check the link in the description for a program called 5-Hour SEO. It is a done with you SEO program that I launched late last year, where I'll help you 2x, 3x, even 5x your organic search revenue and traffic, so you don't have to overpay for a company or a freelancer. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace.